In this video, you will learn how to animate text like a professional using the Animate menu. This is what we're going to be learning today. Stay to the end because the last one is a secret. As always, everything you see on screen is going to be a project file in our Discord server. The link is going to be in the description. My name is Fady Khaled. I've made over 7 figures of editing. With that being said, let's get right into the tutorial. Alright, with that being said, let's get right into the video and not waste any more time. So, new composition, text, tutorial. The first thing we're going to learn, let's keep it simple, typewriter. So to do a typewriter effect, it's very simple. But before we get into actually learning, you will have to know what the Animate menu is, where it's at, and how you can use it. So to access it, you simply select this layer, you press Animate, and then you have all of these options, which we're going to be talking about basically most, if not all of them. But for now, let's keep it simple. Typewriter effect, how to do it, scale. It's gonna create an animator. So an animator basically has a lot of effects in it, or like you can keep adding more effects. When you change, let's say you have this scale effect on it right now. If it's 100%, then nothing's gonna happen. Look, nothing's gonna change. But once you change that to, let's say like 50, now it's beginning to change. Since it's a typewriter effect, we're gonna have it on 0 and then keyframe it to 100%. Obviously, if you just play it like that, it looks kinda alright, but that's not what we're going for. We're going for a typewriter effect, so the letters need to like appear right away. To do that, you simply change the smoothness to 0, right? And that's basically it. That's a typewriter effect. Now, there are different ways the Animate menu works. For example, in the advanced section, you will have percentages and characters. Obviously, this is self-explanatory. If you choose words, it's gonna do the whole word instead of just like one letter. And if you do lines, same thing. It's gonna do the whole line. So let's say typewriter effect, right? Now it's a whole line. So it's just gonna appear since it's not smooth. But if we add a bit of smoothness, it's gonna do the whole line. If it's word, it's gonna do typewriter first and then effect second, like this. Again, if we do this, it's just gonna appear, which is also an effect that you can use. But what we're going for is characters, 0 smoothness, and obviously 1 word, not 2. So it looks like this. Now the second thing we're gonna learn today is snapping. So snapping is very similar to typewriter, but also it's a bit different. I'm gonna show you why. What you do is animate, position, and then add. And the reason you use this add button instead of the animate, because if you try to add something else over here, let's say like RGB, it's gonna add a different animator, which we're gonna get to later on probably in the video. Or you can like select animate and then like add to it, but it's just simpler to do this. What we're gonna add to it is opacity and tracking. So what is tracking? So tracking is basically an effect that expands the space between each letter. So take a look, for example. If you have it on, let's say 20, the space keeps increasing to the right side. If it's like -20, okay, well, something like that. -20 is gonna be like super close to each other, which is actually what we're going for. So maybe like -25. If we do opacity 0, we're not gonna see anything, so we're gonna do that last. Here, let's do 25, or actually 35. And then 0. Obviously nothing is happening on the screen because we need to animate it. So you go to range selector, start 0 as always, and then 100. If you look at it, that's kind of what we're going for. Let's just ease it. I pressed F9 by the way. Alright. So that is snapping. You see how it's like snapping into place? So the reason this is different, because obviously not only does it not use scale effect, but also it snaps into place. Unlike the typewriter where each letter is appearing. Right into the next one, which is gonna be color. So there's a lot of different ways to use color using the Animate menu. I'm gonna show you the simpler way. So RGB, let's say you want it to be blue, maybe for your SAS explainer video, something like that. Obviously, if you keep doing this, it's gonna be difficult. I like to use offset for colors. sometimes start and end together. For example, let's say 50, then like 35. That's gonna be something around here. You can also use these handles. You see this one and this one to adjust it to your liking. Now, I want it to go from left to right. Let's keep it simple for now, so you learn how it actually works. So, left to right, you can drag the number over here for end, or you can drag this, keyframe it, and then 100%, right? Now, if you look at it, that just fills out the whole word. That's not what we're looking for. We want it to go from left to right. So what else do we need to do? We need to keyframe the start as well. So around here, and then you drag the handle to the right side. So now it's gonna look something like this, which is exactly what we're looking for. Now we can obviously change it to have like one letter instead by doing the handles and everything. But this is pretty time consuming, so that's why the last one that I'm gonna teach you is a bit more advanced, but will save you a lot of time. By the way, if you want to skip all this manual setup and start pumping out content fast, then check out Submagic. It's the go-to tool when you want to publish more, faster, high-performing shorts with captions, B-roll, sound effects, and even thumbnail testing, without spending days inside After Effects or Premiere Pro. I use it myself for School of Hard Knocks style edits, podcast clip, and streamer style videos. The same format's pulling millions of views. If you're focused on speed, volume, and consistency, this is a no-brainer. Hit the link below for 10% off using code FADY10 and see how much faster you can ship your next batch. Pairing that with whop, every 1,000 views will pay you, and with Submagic you can pump out content and clips fast enough to stack real income. That means you can make your money back and start making even more money using Submagic and whop paired together. Now, the one that most of you are probably waiting for is the bounce effect, the Apple style. We've seen it everywhere. I've used it myself. So, how is it done? Well, it's pretty simple actually. What you want to do is position and then opacity 0. Obviously, if you do not know what opacity is, position is, then this video is probably a bit advanced for you. And I'm gonna have a video coming up soon for every beginner out there. So just follow along and you'll probably learn something still. Now, what you want to add is a selector this time and not a property. So selectors, you have like range, wiggly, expression. Wiggly means you can like wiggle the text. Expressions is what we're going for. Just make sure you drop this menu down. And then I have these bounce expressions from Zachariah HQ, very great editor. We're gonna be using one of them today. There we go. If you do the 30, this is what it's gonna look like. You see how it bounces? Obviously you can increase the delay, you can decrease it depending on what you want. I think this is very good. But with this one, you don't even need keyframes because the expression does it all, right? Now moving on to the mix. The mix text can use a lot of different things. So for this one, we're gonna be using color, we're gonna be using 3D, and we're gonna be using blur as well. Enable per character 3D. That means you can animate each character in 3D space. For example, we have position. Now we have X, which moves left to right, Y, up and down, and then Z space, near the camera or further away from the camera, right? And then we want to add our favorite RGB. We can honestly copy the same keyframes from here. This is obviously for the RGB. And if we do that, then it's gonna get confusing. So let's say this is like minus 500, right? Now, if you copy these right away, look at what's gonna happen. That is not what we're looking for. Now, why this is happening is because the fill and position are all under the same range selector, which is not what we want. So what we do is Control Z, remove this, and then now we're gonna add another animator just for the RGB. Then we can paste the keyframes from the color right here, or like you can redo it. So it's gonna be the same as before, right? Now we can also animate our position however we want it. I also want to add a bit of rotation. So again, you can rotate anywhere you want, since this is 3D space and the text is 3D. I want it to be a bit like this. Honestly, I haven't tried this before. Totally fine. So this is the starting position, right? And this is the end position. So if we keyframe it real quick, 100, this is what it's gonna look like. All right. Now what we want, obviously, what we want is a simple 3D space. Might need to increase this a bit, something like this. Which is not the smoothest, but you can adjust it here, obviously, in the graph editor. Now it looks much better. You can also ease these ones as well. And this is what it's going to look like. All right. And that is basically the mix. Now you can also add blur to it. So let's say blur 15%. That means at the very beginning it's going to be blurred like this, and then it's going to be revealed, which I usually pair it with opacity. Since the blur is a bit too much, sometimes I make it like 5. And then here we can make it like 25, so you can still see the colors. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And that is the mix. Right now into the secret animation that uses an advanced technique by Stephen Zammit that nobody else uses. So what you need to do, create a text layer again. Something like this. Let's add scale animation 0. We're basically making a typewriter effect again. We're not going to be touching these for now. Let's make that 0 as well. Now rename it to Animate In. Deselect it. Add RGB. Maybe even rotation. And also position. Name that highlight. So there might be nothing on the screen in the moment, which is completely fine. We're going to be adding sliders, around 3 of them. First one is going to be named highlight position 1, animation amount 1, fall off radius 1. And then we're going to add an expression here, which is also going to be in the Discord server, link in the description. Drop down menu, change to this, and obviously nothing is happening. Now the reason you don't see anything on screen is because you need to change the start to 100%. Alright, now what does this do? This with the expression acts like a start and end. This is like the highlight, which letter you want to use. Kind of like the handles we've been using, but now it's like way easier and you can do it for like longer words as well. And here is the fun part, the radius. So you can affect as many or as little as you want. I like around like 1 to 2, maybe 2. Yeah, all right. Now what you need to do is basically, you know that the offset changes. So it animates in, out, all of that. And since this is like a typewriter effect, obviously types and scales in. So what you need to do, expand this so we can actually see. Go to effects and you see the highlight position. We're gonna do this, and since highlight is the one that controls it, we are going to parent animate in offset to this slider. So now they all work together, which opens up an endless combination of effects that you can use for it. So now we can do this, animate 0 to like 105 maybe, something like that. You can make it go fast. Obviously this is just like color and typewriter effect, but do not forget that we have added position and also rotation. So that means we can also rotate and move it down, move it up, stuff like that. So this is what it could look like. That's a bit too much rotation for my liking. This is good, I don't mind it. A bit laggy, but it's fine. You need to adjust the keyframes a bit, because sometimes it's a bit laggy and stuff like that. Secret animation. Let's test it with this. Yep, that looks better. Now the way I did it in the intro itself, I basically added deep glow. That is a bit too much. Around 8 maybe. That's even too much still. Too much. Yeah, that's how I like it. And then I added a bit of echo, obviously under the deep glow. I don't want to blind you people. 7, and then it's gonna look something like this, which I think looks pretty cool. We just need to adjust the decay a bit. There we go. And with that being said, that's pretty much it. Now, you can make all of these into presets, which I will have in the Discord server, link in the description. We help a lot of people inside there. I've already reviewed countless videos in there, helped a lot of people with their questions, and continue to help people, because that's the goal of the Discord server. It's a brotherhood. It's not just like me answer questions. I've seen a lot of you answer questions as well. So if you want to advance your editing career and even your life, join the Discord, link in the description. With that being said, it's been Fady Khaled, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Peace out.